Hello, it's that afternoon pumping session time, and it made me think about my experience I had this week. I was at a conference. It was quite a large conference at a huge convention center in a large city, and I'm needing to pump. I'm still breastfeeding my son. And so as soon as I arrived yesterday, I went in looking for nursing opportunities, locations, where do I go when I need to go. So there were two opportunities at this convention center that I was aware of. One was at the medical, staff office, where they hand out anything from aspirin to Band-Aids to splints to just taking care of basic first aid needs for anyone at the conference. And it's a wide open room. You walk in, you're assigned a seat in the corner that has an outlet, and hopefully you brought something to cover up with, because anybody and everybody can and will walk into that open room. And I thought, not so much. So the other option was a large bathroom, I'd say maybe 40 to 50 stall bathroom, where they had repurposed a corner and cordoned off a section where you have a partial wall that protects for privacy, but not necessarily from the sights and sounds of a 40 to 50 stall bathroom. And smells, let's be honest. And then you have an accordion door that you open, and it can lock from the inside and the outside, so that the inside you can lock it up so that it doesn't open up, and then the outside you can unlock it so you can walk in if in fact you need to join that group. So as you walk in front of you, you see a shelf or a counter, and it has 3 outlets underneath. So there's 3 potential stations to plug in your pump, and then you'd stand as you pump, and then kind of around the corner from the door were 2 chairs and then 2 more plugs with a table in between. So when you walk in, when you open up that accordion door, because that mirror in front of you goes the whole length of the wall, anybody walking in plus anybody passing by or in line, because that's where the line of, there's always a line in this bathroom, always. So that line that always exists is able to then see the mirror and see anybody who is at the counter pumping, and then those that are in the seats pumping, because that mirror shows them. So there's only privacy when the door is closed. Locked, really, because when you close it, doesn't stay closed unless you lock it. So very interesting situation. I was a bit surprised because it's my first conference experience like this, and it did seem like an afterthought. I thought it seemed like this huge convention center that had obviously existed for some time, still beautiful. The law was passed that you had to provide opportunities for nursing and pumping mothers, breastfeeding mothers. So they got together a bunch of men and said, what's the cheapest way we can make this happen? And I didn't mean that in a sexist comment or any negative intent. It appeared that way because I don't believe any nursing mother or any woman that has had the need to nurse in public was involved in the conversation. It didn't appear that way, because I can imagine that having 3 of 5 nursing stations standing when nursing, at least for me, nursing session takes anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes, and you're kind of attached to your pump, that to me doesn't seem beneficial, especially because you're more productive in a pumping session if you're relaxed, if you're not constantly interrupted by toilet sounds and bathroom sounds and smells and conversations of other women standing in line right outside this partial wall. It was just interesting to me in 2018 that was the opportunity provided by a supposedly state-of-the-art convention center in a well-known and large city. So I ask you guys, what's your experience trying to pump in public? Those of you that are nursing moms who are also working, that need to go to conferences, that need to go to day-long meetings, that need to make arrangements for pumping, or it could even be at your work. I heard conversations of these lovely ladies that I'm meeting for the first time, and hello, how you doing? Here, look at my breasts, because that's really, let's be honest, that's what's happening here. Up to 5 of us at one time doing the same thing, and even if you brought a cover-up, you have to do things without the cover-up. So I mean, everyone was very professional. You just look in the eyes, or at the ceiling, or at the corner, or at the lampshade. You know, you find a spot to look at that's not where all the activity's happening. Let's be grateful for politeness. And of course, everyone was very professional. We were just all doing the same thing, and we're doing it for the love of our children, and so that's what we're doing. But I want to know how nursing working mothers, you do it, because as someone who's in that environment, who loves my job, who loves my child, who wants to provide milk produced from my body for the benefit of my baby as long as I possibly can, I was just surprised in 2018 that is what is offered. Now, I've been to other conferences that weren't quite as large, and not as large convention centers, but still at convention centers, where the opportunity for pumping or nursing was a pod, and I believe it's a Mama Va was the brand pod, which I think is a great idea. But there was one, and there were, at least that I knew of, 3 of us that were trying to coordinate on the same schedule, because you pump kind of consistently, and so at least 3 of us were on the same schedule, and so we tried to vary it up and be like, okay, I'll come a little earlier, okay, I'll come a little later, and maybe I can wait an extra hour or so. But it's a 20 to 30 minute experience. You get in, you have to plug in, you have to get everything undone, you then get prepared and dressed and covered, and then you have to do it, and then you have to undo it, and then you have to wipe everything down. I mean, it's a process, and then to just have one pod for multiple people, I mean, do I know the answer? No. I would imagine that having a committee to come up with the most cost-effective way to provide nursing and breastfeeding opportunities that includes nursing mothers might be beneficial. I don't know if that's what happened at the convention that I was at, but it didn't feel that way, I can tell you that. The experience, as much as I enjoyed connecting with the women that I did and sharing stories that wouldn't have otherwise happened, it was also awkward, and it was also perceived as an afterthought. Let me just go back to that. There's the reality there. So I'd love your feedback. How do you guys go about it? What do you do? Do you make sure you get a hotel close by so you can trek? I mean, then there's that time, and missing important information. My thoughts, my feedback, and I welcome your thoughts as well. Blessings and